Hello and welcome to the Timber Exchange webinar on the ACID regulations in Egypt, where we explain both what the regulation includes, but also the recent updates. I'm your host, Amir Rashad, the CEO and founder of CenterSource Technologies. And today I'm very happy to be joined by my colleagues, Mai Taha, Business Development Manager, and also Joachim Knapp, the Head of Research and Development. During this webinar today, we're going to go through what the ACI system includes, what has changed since mid-June, how Timber Exchange facilitates and automates the ACI filing process to ensure full compliance, and finally, we will answer your questions. Let's get started. Mike, can you please tell us a little bit about what the ACID process includes?
Yes, of course. I will go through the procedures, give you a nice overview about the process, and we will start from our exporter. The exporter is required to create a CargoX account. Maybe some of you are already aware or already made one, but still we will go through it quickly. And by creating a CargoX account, you register in their website and you add all the company details, website, phone, address, contacts, your VAT ID, all is required the information to give a full image about your company. Then you will be required to save an encrypted keychain number on your computer to be saved and verify your company. Once you get your account ready, you will go to the second step, which is verifying your account. Verifying your account comes in 3 steps. The first step is by your administrator, a responsible person for the account. He goes to My Company settings and ensure all the information are clear, ready, and equivalent to your information in your registration book in your country of load. The second step is with the payment, with the bank verification, which means that you are required to go to the billing tab in CargoX and buy credits from your bank account, so your bank account is connected to your company. Those credits are used, for example, in our case for the ACI filing, if you bought for $150, for example, this is in your account and you can use it to pay for the ACI filing, for example. The third step is by a third-party registration, and it is done once. You pay like a $15 fee, and you get a verification for your information in the registry in your country. Once your account is verified, you will receive a CargoX ID number, which is very important for the ACI filing, as we will see. Simultaneously, our importer is working by creating an FISA account. The second step for our importer is to obtain an electronic token with the electronic signature. Now he has a credential to enter NAFISA, and NAFISA is clearly the platform or the hub is connecting the trade parties with the authorities in Egypt, including Egyptian customs and the other authorities that inspect and check the cargo arrives to Egypt. Once this part for you, for exporter, to create a CargoX account, a verified account, and the importer creating an FISA account and obtaining the electronic token, those part is done once. Once you get it, you will not need to go through it every time. But now you have your CargoX ID number as an exporter, you are required to submit it or to send it to your importer, so he will be in need for it to insert it with his shipment details. Once you start your trade, then we will go with the process that it has to be done each time you make a shipment to Egypt. Your importer will go by his credentials to Nafisa and start inserting the shipment details. One of them is needed is your cargo XID number. Once he finishes those shipment details, and we will go through it in our next 2 slides, he will need to submit it to Nafisa. Nafisa will revise it and check it and submit or send the ACID number. This ACID number, 19 digits unique number, will be assigned to each shipment. So it's a unique number for each shipment. Once it's suppose, actually this is the promise, total promise from the Nafisa, is it will be issued in 48 hours from the submission time. You will receive, as an exporter or importer, both of you will receive an email of confirmation with the ACID number stating your export registration number, and for the importer, it is for the taxation number. So it is 3 elements that will be very important to highlight in the email that you will be receiving. Now our exporter will come to the second step, which is ensuring, once the shipment is ready, to add all the ACID elements to documents. It is very important that those 3 elements are added to all the shipping documents. This failing to add any of these is the reason of a possibility of re-exporting your cargo outside Egypt. The second step then is to create an ACI file, or what is called the envelope on Cargo X, whereas you put all your documents. And the third step is to submit it. Documents are sent by blockchain document transmission to Nafisa. Once Nafisa receives your documents as an exporter, a notification will be sent to the importer. So he needs to go again to inside Nafisa by his credentials and his electronic token, check, approve receiving the documents, and then press submit, which means that the shipment is accepted from his side and the documents are correct. Then we will get started with the shipment with no problem. But what is exactly are required to send or to add in Nafisa in order to add those shipment details? What are those? This we come to our next slide. First, there are primary information, what we just mentioned, cargo XID number for the exporter, exporter type, which means is it a factory, a branch, a trade name. The third is the exporter's country code. For example, Sweden is SE. Full details of exporters, contacts, name, emails, address, all this information has to be in the hands of your importer in order for him to insert them in Nafisa. The second is our detailed information in our third slide. It comes with more detailed information. Amir, can you please go to the third slide? It is, those information are with for the shipment or for the invoice or for the item, the 3 of them. For the shipment, you need to add a purchase order date or number, or a pro forma invoice or a contract. Nafisa need to assign this information to a specific shipment. Then the country of origin and port of load. Details of the invoice is the second, which is number, date, and value, currency, and type of, is it a pro forma or commercial, it depends. And of course, the Incoterm. The third is a detailed information about the items. We give a general description of the cargo, the HS code. It is the 10 digits. It's very important to realize this piece of information, because normally we use the 6 digits, which is the international digits, but in Egypt, they need as well the 4 added digits for the, for the local tariff. You add as well the net weight, gross weight, weight unit, and the value of each item. Those are the detailed information that needed for the importer to start his procedure for submitting, asking for the application for the ACID shipment. But as an exporter, what documents should you send to Nafisa? We are talking here about a BL. Of course, original BL, if possible, will be great. But a draft so far is acceptable. A commercial invoice, a packing list. And for our forestry industry, we need the phytosanitary and certificate of origin, as long as, like any normal shipments, when those documents are needed, you have to upload all the documents related to your shipment. So in our case, in forestry industry, those are the needed documents. Of course, you have to ensure that all the 3 ACID elements that we talked about are on those documents. You will start the ACI filing, which is, by the way, cost about $50 and $3 for each item of those. Like you will multiply by 5, so you'll have like 15 plus 50 for each shipment. And if you need to amend any document and re-upload it to CargoX, you are allowed to do so, no problem. But of course, you will have to pay for the $3. This will give you like a refresh of mind about the procedure and focus on the most important steps that concerns you as an importer, as an exporter. Go ahead, Amir.
Thank you very much, Mai, for that thorough introduction to what the ACI system includes. Now I'd like to hand over to Joachim, the head of research and development in CenterSource, to say a few words his team have been working on.
Thank you, Amir. So, hello everyone, glad to see you all. My name is Joachim Knapp, and I'm working with product development here at CenterSource. One of the main ideas behind our so-called supply chain collaboration platform is to facilitate work with sales, logistics, and administration of it by bringing buyers, sellers, and forwarders closer to each other in a shared workspace with smart and integrated information flows. We strive to provide an end-to-end solution in the gap that sits between business inquiry and until the goods arrive at destination. And therefore, it is natural for us to help out and inform people and companies about the Egyptian ACI system, and also to provide smart supply chain tools related to it. We will now show a video from inside Timber Exchange that briefly shows what our smart supply chain tools can help you with related to the management of deals with Egypt as destination. Enjoy.
So that was a video of what we do in Timber Exchange. Mike, can you please tell us a little bit about what are some of the changes that have happened since mid-June? You're on mute.
Okay. Since our last, we had already as well with our customers and our colleagues before another session before, but since then we had few changes, like we need to say it clear, but you don't need by any chance to upload your documents 48 hours before the departure from port upload. Once your cargo is ready, you uploaded your cargo on the vessel, then you have a clear information about the weights, the packages, and you maybe as well you got a clear draft from your shipping line or your carrier, then you can upload it to CargoX with no problem. A specific invoice template must be used, which is by Nafisa. You have to use a specific template that we will show you in a few minutes, as well as all the documents, as we mentioned. For example, in our forestry industry, you need to upload plus the 3 main documents that is for everybody in any industry, which is the BL, commercial, invoice, and packing list. You will need to add as well the phytosanitary and certificate of origin. It is a must. The physical shipping documents will not be used in 2022, which is a promise from the Egyptian customs, which is released and confirmed several times. Maybe the date is not really specified till the moment, but soon they will announce that you will not need to use any more the physical shipping documents. Every part of your shipment that must be indicated in the invoice. For example, if we're taking the forestry industry as an example, you will need to add every specific size that you have in your shipment with weights and species and everything. You have to mention it in the invoice. And we can show it to you in our next slide how it looks like. This is the template that we are talking about. You will add all the mentioned details, and each line here, it will indicate the product code, the name, the tariff, net weight, gross weight. It has to be mentioned and mentioned clearly. But in Timber Exchange, we are generating this invoice automatically. How we are doing this is how Amir and our colleagues will present to you in a few seconds. Please go ahead, Amir.
So today we are super, super proud to announce actually that we are integrated to both CargoX and Nafeza, which is a huge medal of honor for us and allows us to service all of you, our customers and potential customers, much, much better. But what does this integration mean in practice? Well, what it means is that we can now automate the full ACID workflow to create instructions for importers to submit to Nafeza, which means that there will not be a discrepancy versus what you actually ship later on. The platform notifies all counterparties on what is happening, meaning that nobody forgets any very important deadlines, which are sensitive in this case. Also, you will be able to verify all the ACID elements, meaning that you will not be allowed to upload into CargoX until the ACID numbers are correct and verified by Nafeza. And as soon actually as the ACID number is input into the system, it will automatically request a notification, and you will get it will automatically request a verification, of which you will be automatically notified if this ACID number is valid or not. And if you have many ACID numbers, you can, of course, or ACID elements, you can input them all at the same time and get back a list of which shipment passed or didn't pass. Super easy and simple. On top of this, of course, because we know who the shipper is, the consignee, the cargo, the delivery terms and the cargo details, and also the ACID elements, it means that we can generate drafts of all the shipping documents at once easily from one set of master data, meaning you change something in one document, it automatically changes them in all other documents as well. And of course, to provide a really, really seamless experience, you can send all your documents, like we saw in the video by Joachim. You just select which documents, and you can send it immediately to Nafeza via our integration with CargoX. So this means you don't need to work in non-synchronized systems, and all the activities are consolidated together in a unified dashboard and workspace. Of course, this lowers language barriers, makes your job easier because you don't need to chase any colleagues or counterparties because they forgot to do something or that you need to tell them to do something. The system notifies everyone with everything they need to do. And of course, this leads to a much, much more effective cooperation. And also, one of the things which we will offer through our cooperation with CargoX is that it will be free of charge to submit your shipping documents, actually. So we are very proud to allow exporters to Egypt to work in a transparent, automated, and accountable way, and to help to ensure that there is full compliance that can be achieved. So what is it that we actually offer? Well, to all users that are registered on the platform, we offer an ACID guide, which Mai has written, which goes through examples, scenarios, and essential facts you must know as an exporter to Egypt to avoid any costly mistakes or re-export of your cargo to port of loading. And of course, everyone listening today can get a discount code to become a registered user on the platform. Use the promo code ACID 2021 to receive a 25% discount on the next 12 months. On top of this, you will have access to all the 90 smart tools inside of the platform, which cover, as Joachim said, all the steps from inquiry of timber until the cargo arrives at final destination. You can also have a contact manager who helped, in this case, Mai for ACID, who is an expert on the process and has read all the laws and continuously keeps up to date, so that you can contact us and her and to get up-to-date information and personalized advice. So what we offer with our ACID module is that you can add the ACID number to all the shipping documents. You can verify the ACID elements to ensure they are correct. We track all the milestones so that you get notified if there are delays or any risks. And finally, you can easily submit the documents to CargoX. And I would also like to point your attention to our market data hub, which has top market news from around the world, production data, inventory data, export-import flows, how much has been loaded in different ports, different months, even in countries like North America, which are the largest and most important markets. There is a price, we have two price indexes, a global one and one for the US. And we also have a podcast where we dive deep into what's happening in the timber market and discuss it with market leaders. And here you can see two of our recent episodes. And since the past 2 weeks, for the next 4 coming weeks, we are releasing one episode every week with companies that are very active in shipping, in timber, across different areas of the world, from South America to China and North America, and of course, Europe. Now I'm very happy to open up the floor for any questions from the audience. Please raise your hand and we will allow you to speak through the microphone, or you can just submit the question in the chat. One attendee is raising his hand. Hani Al-Sarafi, I will allow you to talk. Hello, Hani. Please unmute yourself so that you can speak.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much for the presentation. My question is, does the procedures the same if the country of origin is outside Europe?
Yes, it is the same.
Okay, so we just skip only the Euro 1 in this case.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
But then you need to submit the certificate of origin,
Yes.
whether Russia or Ukraine or something.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We have a question in the chat from Ahmed Ibrahim. Regarding the invoice exports, do we add the GS1 to the invoice?
Okay, no, you don't have to add the GS1 code, but you have to add like the number, the timber number, that maybe in that case, I believed Amir, it is the species for the timber. It can work with that because the GS1 code is not necessarily to be added, but equivalent. What is equivalent? Like part number or code number. Is it really required to input documents within 48 hours after vessel sales? Not possible in any way. HS is 6 digits, not 10. Okay, so is it really required to input documents within 48 hours after vessel sales? No, there is no 48 hours specific rule. The rule is once the vessel sails, it means that you have all your documents with you, so you don't have a really barrier to upload your documents to CargoX, so you can do it. No specific time was mentioned, but the earlier is better. Plus, the idea is that you have the chance, if you like, to make the custom clearance earlier, and this is actually the main purpose of the system. So once your importer receives the documents and approve it, he can simply go start with the custom clearance. So to save you time, once the vessel arrives in, the customs will, the cargo will be cleared. Not possible in any way. HS is 6 digits, not 10. No, the thing is, the 6 digits international code is well known to everybody. But what can be helpful is that you provide this to your importer, and in NAFISA, there is a possibility that you add those 6 digits number and you make a search, and then you will get the 10 digits, the whole 10 digits number, because the 10 digits are required. It can't be 6 and it can't be 8.
I'd like to comment on this actually to Mr. Mika Taurinen, if I hope I'm saying that correctly. So for example, in Saw and Timber, it's 440710, which is the, wait. Yes, it's 440710, which is for Saw and Timber, the category. But then if you add, I believe, a 12 and then 00 at the end, you actually get the full 10-digit number. Now, I'm not an expert in HS codes, but in the system, we have researched this in depth. And because you indicate in the system, for example, in the cargo specification that this is pine, spruce, fir, larch, whatever, we automatically match it with the correct 10-digit HS code. And then to Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim, I'd like to comment as well that GS1, unless you are a customer of GS1, you might not have the GS1 codes. But one thing which we do is that because in most in the timber industry, most timber products are relatively, most sawmills produce the same dimensions. So we have created actually product codes for most of the standard or for all standard dimensions and even custom dimensions in the forestry industry. So this is something also that we add to make it even easier. But I don't believe it's not possible to skip the GS1 code, Ahmed.
Is it possible to change the importer buyer in a later stage after the whole process is done? Okay, till the moment, no, there is no clear allowance to do so. Once the ACID number is issued, you can't change the importer or the exporter names. Till the moment, it is not clear and it is not announced. Maybe later at stage it can be done, but not till the moment.
Maya, would you like to take this question?
Yes. Do we have to add the ACID number, exporter VAT, and importer VAT to all documents? Yes, but just to be clear, it is not the exporter VAT, it is the exporter registration number. This is the one that you receive in NAFISA notification once the ACID number is added. So this number, because it is a combination of your VAT and as well as a letter codes indicating the country, they are combining it together. So you need to add it to all your documents, and actually you will be provided with that number. So yes, it has to be on all the documents.
We have a question from Thomas Yakonsari. are all separate dimensions by sizes, by qualities and species needed to be mentioned separately in the invoice. It will be a 10-page long invoice. Yes, unfortunately.
Mhm.
On the bright side, at least, Thomas, we don't need to mention the unique length. But yes, it will be a long invoice, and that is one of the problems facing the timber industry. But for now, these are rules which are applied to all product categories. It might change in the future depending on what each unique industry needs. Then we have a question from Carl-Henrik Henmalm. What about gross and net weight in the invoice?
Yes, it has to be mentioned in as well in the invoice, but your question is not really clear. Are you talking about the timber industry? Because yes, as well, it has to be added, and I believe it can be estimated and it can be provided from the sawmill. Yes. Exactly, in timber. Yes, it can be estimated. You can get those information from the sawmill. You get an estimation from them. They can provide you with this information if you are only the exporter or the seller.
Ahmed Ibrahim, what about the cost of insurance? That's a very good question. We had a discussion about this recently, and usually, at least in Sweden, I don't know how it works in other countries, but I assume it will be similar. Usually you buy an insurance to cover, for example, 10 million euros of exports, and you buy it for a specific fee, and then you can export up to that amount. So what it means is that you need to divide. For example, I have today a shipment for 500,000 euros, for example. But my insurance coverage total for any price, doesn't matter, is for 10 million euros. Then I divide what is I get the proportion of the invoice of the insurance cost, and I apply it to this invoice. This is the correct way to do it. Or if you calculate an estimated number, what is the cost per cubic meter? Could be 0 point something, and then you add that per cubic meter and multiply. But the CIF price will be affected. Well, it won't be. How do you mean, Ahmed? If you'd like, I can let you speak instead. Because if the price per product is, for example, let's say $300, you just remove from the CIF price the price of the insurance, and then you add it later on at the bottom. But in the end, the invoice total will be the same. Okay, welcome, Ahmed. We have a new question from Thomas Yakonsari. There is a separate 10-digit CS1. Now, I guess you mean GS1 number for each quality species, but not for sizes. Joachim, you have spoken a bit to the head of GS1. What have you found?
Yes, I found that there is specific regulations for each country. So I cannot say straight away, but I can look into it.
We will get back to you, Thomas. But Thomas, to understand, are you saying that you know that GS1 does timber codes for quality and species, but not for sizes? Or is it more of a statement or a question? Because remember, it's allowed either to have a GS1 code or a product code in its place, but it's very expensive to purchase a license and to become a GS1 customer. Thomas does not know, it's a question. So one of our aims during next year is actually to cooperate closely with GS1 so that this will be part of the solution, but it was actually imagined previously that this will be essentially mainly for the DIY chains and other industries and not for Egypt. But of course, we're happy that it also supports the Egyptian case. We have a new question from Ahmed. I mean, how can I make the combination between the CIF and the cost of insurance? Well, you should offer a CFR in the product. You can, the contract, the agreement is the delivery terms are CIF, Alexandria, LIFO, Lilo, the usual. But then in the actual product listing, you list the CFR price. And then at the bottom, we can go back to that slide actually. So here, so we don't have an exact example now. So the product code can be, for example, this product code field can be GS1 code or the product code which we automatically generate. Then the actual price, the unit price which you put, this will be the CFR price. And then here, or no, it will be actually the fast price. Sorry, the fast price. Then you add the freight cost separately. So you're shipping 1,000 cubic meters. The freight is approximately $55. So you put there 55 times 1,000. And then you put the insurance cost, 0.25 cents or something times the total volume. And this is actually something which is very normal when you export to the US. And those of you who have done that will know that this is actually how it works. And this is actually for the benefit of the importer, because at least in the US then, the importer doesn't pay an import tax on the freight charge. Mats Kleresund, the contact person that we give to the importer must be the same that upload the documents, or it doesn't matter. Mai?
The contact person that we give to the importer must be the same that upload document, or no, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. The person that upload the documents, it can be the administration of the account. So I believe but maybe you have a point. I can check on that, but I don't think it is a must. No, because you are, as an exporter, you are assigning to your documents that this person is the contact person for this shipment, which means that they will go and check if there's anything happened. But if you want me to double check for that for you, no problem at all.
Yes, please double check mine, but it shouldn't be a requirement.
Yes.
Then we have from Mario.
Just a minute, Amir, because there is a question. In case of dispute between buyer and seller refuse to discharge or receive the goods, you mean the buyer refused to receive the goods, and the exporter needs to change the buyer, what happens then? Okay, I totally understand you, but till the moment, I would recommend a thing that you can make before the shipment is actually uploaded on the vessel. You will have like a general idea about your shipment, your cargo, and you can ask the shipping line for a draft of the BL. And then you can ask to submit the documents to Cargo X and ask your importer to approve it. So you are now sure that he is approved the documents and he will be responsible for it and he will accept it. And then once the vessel sails, if you need to correct those weights or the packages or any detail, you still can do so. You will need to upload the documents again to cargo X. It will appear as a modified document. So it is not a problem.
But the forestry industry can be very, very volatile, and especially right now, it's very volatile indeed. What Mohammed Mohi is asking, is it possible to change the consignee, do you think? Or that's not possible now?
No, not possible. One, because the ECID number will be issued early. So his name, the name of the importer or the buyer will be mentioned on the documents from the beginning. So it will not be possible to be changed till the moment. I'm sure I think that I can be sure from what I see from the procedure, they are really listening to the industries and they are keep changing. It is a possible change that will come in the future, but now, no, it is not possible.
So I can actually say that as Timber Exchange is an official partner with CargoX for the forestry industry, and we actually recorded a podcast episode 2 days ago, and this podcast episode will be released next Friday, where we discuss some of these things. And in that episode, we discussed exactly this topic. And he said, currently it's not possible, but it will be possible in the near future. It's their goal. They don't want to build a system and digitize the industry, but lock people in to a specific rigid system. They want to provide a digital way to work that mirrors how companies actually work. And of course, Muhammad and everyone else, things happen, situations change. So the technology must be able to mirror and reflect this very, very important flexibility. However, in the start, it's not possible, but it should hopefully be able to soon. But how soon, that is the question. And of course, we track all the changes and will always keep all of you up to date.
And just to assure you that the mechanism is available. I mean, like, there is a possibility that, for example, once the cargo arrives Egypt, okay, that the original importer with his name on the ECID and everything can make a change, go to Nafisa and add the new importer name or the new buyer name, and they can make the change. And what I'm saying is not implemented, but I meant to say it because it is available and it can be done, but it is not really officially released that it will be done for the ECID details. But what I'm telling you is it is possible and it is doable.
Thank you, Mai. Let's continue to the next question. Mario Titinen, hope I'm saying that correctly. If the documents can be input after vessel sales, do we have to put the ACID number in CargoX before, or what is the time limit for this? Mario, do you, I think you mean the document submission, or what do you understand by?
Yeah, I'm not really quite sure, but the documents that you upload to CargoX, it has to have the ACID details. And just to make it clear, the ACID number is issued earlier once you get an agreement between you as a seller or exporter and your importer. Once you get the agreement, even the oral agreement, you can start the procedure and send him the details, pro forma invoice, and these things. So the ECID number is there, and you have to add it on the documents.
So to make it very simple, when you agree on a specification, the importer creates a shipment in his login. Then you get an email with the ACID elements, you put it into the documents, and when you have preferably all the originals, you create an ACI envelope in Timber Exchange or in CargoX. The subject header will be the ACI number. You put the attachments, you seal it, and you send it. Exactly. I hope that clarifies the matter. We have a new questions from Thomas Yakonsari. What if one fails to do all of this in time before vessel arrives to destination and has unloaded the goods there? What are the consequences?
okay, failing to add the ACID details on the documents or missing, it means unfortunately that the cargo will be re-exported out of the Egyptian ports. It will not be uploaded and it will be re-exported. But just to make you sure, the shipping lines and the carriers are required as well to ensure that all the ACID elements are on your shipment details and before they issue the BL, which means that if they didn't find that on your documents, they will not load the cargo even from port of load. Because from their side, at the port of load, they are required to send those information as well to NAFISA. So that by any means, this will not happen. They will offload your cargo at port of load, in other words.
We have one more question from Mika Tauranen. What exactly is this timber exchange system? Is it required as well? For that, I would like to show a slide actually. Or actually 2 slides. Let me know when you can see the screen. Can you see mine?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Mika, thank you for that question. So what is the CenterSource platform? It's a combination of smart supply chain tools, a B2B marketplace, and market data. So it allows you to create factories or offices, colleagues to those factories or offices. You can invite there your customers, suppliers, or freight forwarders, which helps you to increase the transparency, and you can manage the accountability and transparency, which is very, very critical for this ACID case. And because you are all on the same platform, you can automate the workflows between you. And the beautiful thing about this system is that you can start using it immediately. But why did we build this? Because today, some of you are importers, some of you are sales managers, but today the normal way of working is a mess. There is usually a sales manager who's the point of contact, who works with logistics, administration, and different departments, who then coordinates with the importer. And then the sawmill or the trading company has its business system, maybe a production system if it's a sawmill. There are shared folders, there are spreadsheets, maybe there's a CRM system and a TMS system. And on top of this, the sales manager and the customer, they need to track the goods. Where is the vessel? When is it arriving? And manually check if something has changed. You need to track the couriers, the DHL, the UPSs. You need to manage documents, and you need to analyze how your business is progressing. Everything is spread out over many, many emails, shared folders, and it's very hard to get an overview. And it's basically working in non-synchronized systems, where you have to go check for updates instead of letting the updates come to you. Then, what we built, because of our experience in the forestry industry, is because we wanted to build something that would automate all of this in one place, which merges all the 3 counterparties, the exporter, the forwarder, and the importer, so they can manage the deals, negotiation, and payments in one pipeline easily together. You can book, offer, and tender freight, and we have 3 of North Europe's biggest forwarders on the platform, who you probably already buy freight from, actually. You can track your responsibilities. You get smart updates. Now, Mika, it's time to do this, or Mika, you have forgotten to do that. And of course, you can share tasks with your team or with the importer's team. And because we know about who is the seller, the exporter, and the ACID details and the cargo information, we can generate drafts for all the shipping documents very, very easily from one master set of data. And if you change anything in one document, it automatically changes it in all the other documents as well. And as we said, you can automatically track goods or shipments and couriers. You can track 18,000 bulk vessels and 60 container lines, and I believe 6 or 7 of the world's top courier companies. And you can find lots of news and data. So no, it's not required, Mika, but it's a way to automate your own work by 40% plus at least, plus to offer much better customer service and to ensure full compliance with the ACID regulation, because we are integrated to both CargoX and Nafeza. And because of that, we can automate the whole process using our own proprietary tools, which we have built. I hope that answers your question. We have a new question from Nicholas Zogby. Hello, Nicholas. Thank you for attending. Back to the gross and net weight. It is already mentioned on the invoice as a total for the volume. Isn't it enough? We have to mention it for every line. There was no such requirement when we had the meeting with MTS people that the Embassy of Sweden arranged.
At the time of the embassy meeting arranged, I believe that there was not as well a fixed template for the invoice. So the whole thing about the fixed invoice is new, and they just released it and they asked all the involved to follow, unfortunately.
We have a new questions from Mats Kleresund. Can you explain again the specific template we have to use uploading the documents? Didn't really get that part. 1 second, let me reshare my screen and find the correct presentation. Let me know when you can see.
Yes, we can see, Amir.
Good, good. So, yes, Mats. Maya, would you like to take this one?
Yes, this is the template as you see. This is provided by Nafeza to be filled by the exporter or the seller in details. So you have all the details here. It is, you have to upload it to your system and then you have to fill it. So it's as simple as that. They provided a template which has all these columns that you have to fill it with the cargo and then upload it. And as you see, there is a place for the ACID number. You have a place for your registration number. You have all the details for the importer and the exporter. I hope this answered your question.
Then we have another question from Ahmed Ibrahim. What if the document, what if we submit the commercial invoice missing the product code and GS1 code? What will happen? Mai?
Yes. Well, till the moment, no, I think there will be a penalties, but they will not offload the cargo or any of this, but it is a must. Maybe it will complicate process of custom clearance in Egypt, because it is even mentioned in the law that it has to be mentioned, either the GS code, part number, item number, it has to be mentioned on the invoice by one mean or another. So it means that there could be a penalties. I'm not aware exactly how much, but it will be a penalties. But as long as the three elements are there, they will open the place for a discussion or for penalties, or they are not offload the cargo, but there will be a penalties.
And also on that topic, there is something I want to add. Now, this is of course only, I need to clarify, this is my personal opinion, and it is not verified in any way. But if you think about it, what could be the purpose of the product code? It's to track over a long period of time how much volume of each product is being shipped and what the price is, to ensure that your company, so if you ship today 19 by 100 6th grade redwood, that the product code for this needs to be the same every time. You cannot probably switch around, I believe, because then it's not a standardized product anymore. Sure, maybe you can put a different product code depending on the sawmill that it comes from, but it's still a potentially sensitive subject, which you should be wary of, because it could come back through data analytics, and which we know that they are heavily focused on, because they want to see and understand the trade flows. And this is also why we automate adding the product code, so that it's one less thing for you to do, and so that the product codes are also always the same for you, so they don't switch around. Then we have a question by Mats Kleresund. Do we have to put in dimension by dimension? Yes, but on the bright side, not the length, because normally in our industry it's selling falling length. So should be enough. 19 by 100 redwood 6th grade. And this is very specifically indicated even in the first meeting with the Embassy of Sweden, which another guest recently mentioned, where they said very specifically, and it was a question I think by Ericsson actually, even, or Tetra Pak, consolidated invoices are not allowed. So you can't put 7th grade whitewood. That's the definition of a consolidated invoice, unfortunately. And that also leads us to the next question, Mika Taurianen. It will have to be 100 separate lines. Yes, unfortunately. And it's because of this complexity that you need to track the vessel ETAs and ETS and ETAs. You need to have all the documents in one place. You have deadlines. You need to have so many products. It's so many different things to track. So we wanted to build something which would automate our own work. And this is why we have been on this mission, actually. So we fully understand it's a big pain, absolutely. Where can one find the list of all the product codes? Yes, that is inside of the Timber Exchange system, and it's automatically generated. So all you need, for example, when you purchase from a sawmill, or if you are a sawmill, you have an Excel file of all the dimensions. But for sake of simplicity, when you sell it to Egypt, you make a consolidated invoice. So you can take this invoice or this Excel list, this packing list or specification, even if it's not the final numbers, and you can import it into Timber Exchange very easily. And then it will automatically feel that this is 19 by 100 redwood 6th grade, and it will automatically assign a product code. Is that correct, Joachim?
Yes, that is so. And the product code itself, if you refer to the GS1, the HS codes, those can be found online as well.
And that brings us actually into the next question by Mahmoud Tawfi. I think the product code is 440711 and 4 zeros after.
This is the HS code.
HS code.
It looks to me like this.
This is the HS code, not the product code.
Yes.
So we know all the different HS codes for everything from Eliotti and Teida pine to Siberian larch in the system. So whatever you throw at us, it will be able to manage. can we upload the list of sizes specification, which we create manually in your system to the invoice? Yes, you can upload it. You can type it in manually, or you can just select import, and then you select an Excel file on your computer, and then it will import. And because we know it might be some of a learning curve, there is a customer success department which can take training sessions and who you can ask questions that can help you whilst you are logged in. Unless there are any other questions, that was everything for today, and we will keep you all updated on the regulation, on what is changing, and we will hold more webinars like this on a regular basis. As soon as we know something else new, there will be a new webinar and new sendouts as well. And I want to refer also to the excellent 30-page guide which Mai has written, which goes through what you must know about the ACID process. This guide is updated immediately. If you don't want to wait for a webinar, because we can't do it immediately, but this guide is immediately updated with all the latest regulations and best practices and examples specifically for the forestry industry. So feel free to go to timber.exchange to register an account, use the promo code ACID 2021 to get a free trial and a 25% discount. Ahmad Ibrahim is asking, are you planning another webinar before the 1st of October? No, we are not, but it will likely be after we know how it's actually going. Thank you, Hani, very much. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you, Yuan. Great pleasure to have you. That was all for today. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.